Too. Okay, is that her Apple ID? That's mine. Oh, okay. But everything is under her name. Okay.
Good morning.
You know, but ask her if she's got an Apple ID.
I've heard a lot of energy.
That's probably the reason. We've learned how to get around it.
It's been a very interesting month since our last meeting. Those of you who followed this Apple stuff, okay, first thing was Worldwide Developer Conference, and they announced iOS 8. So if you've got an iPhone or an iPad, wow, that's a big deal. It's not available yet, but they demoed it, showed us what it was like. And they also announced the next operating system for the Macintosh stuff, which is going to be Yosemite. Remember, they stopped using the kitty cat names to name it, and they went for cities in California. So that next one is going to be Yosemite. And the other thing they did, and I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing, is they went back to an open beta testing environment, which Apple used to do back in the 1980s, where if you were a normal, regular person and you wanted to try out the beta software, you could do it. And there's a website that you can go to. You have to create a developer login for yourself, and they will email you if you make the list. It's not everybody. It's, you know, they sort of are going to be picking who does it, but it's not just for developers anymore. And so I have a copy of iOS 8 that I put on a device and immediately host. And I have a copy of Yosemite, which I discovered the operating system is okay, but the applications are sort of just icons at this point, a lot of them. So in the fall, when we start up our meetings again, this is my subtle way of reminding everybody, no meeting in July and August. Okay. No meeting in July and August. If you show up, we won't be here. But in September, when we start our meetings up again, this stuff will be more available. We may do a demo of that. We may do a demo of a bunch of other things. Okay, so with that said, Mr. Kirtner, do we have any visitors or guests today?
None that I'm aware of.
None that you're aware of. Okay. We're going back to what we used to do in 1990 when our first meetings were held, which is my subtle way of going, because you're doing the addition. Oh, hey, that means we're finishing our 24th year of operation. So next September, we start our 25th year of operation. Okay. Now, the other thing that's going on, I'm in the news section, is Mactown has closed. So we only have Mac Depot over on Dorothy Lane still open. The Apple Store at Green has not opened yet. Now, I saw this email that they sent out, and I noticed something immediately.
They didn't add right, did they?
Yeah. And I emailed Joe Weingarten, because I wanted to verify when he had started selling things. And it was 1979, so they got that wrong. So, okay. Plus, 2014 minus 1,980 would be 34, not 24.
Maybe they're considering actual service.
And it was actually... so I had that conversation with Joe Weingarten, who's having a really nice life out in Indiana, really loving his grandkids and that. And then I emailed the person who had sent this out, saying, you know, hey, you know, your numbers are wrong. And they didn't respond back. You know, see, this is the curse. Those of us who have worked with journalists and the folks in the composing room, you know, we focus, we're called grammar Nazis, you know. We focus on the punctuation, the spelling, all that stuff. So that spelling is correct though. All right. So anyway, with that said, other news items. Anybody else have anything they want to contribute? Otherwise, I'll talk for a few more minutes. Anybody have any other news items they want to share? Going once, going twice? Okay. Just a reminder that there's an update for Flash. Again.
I just can't figure out how to do it.
Okay.
So I haven't updated Flash at all.
Okay. Louise says that she's just had it. She can't figure out how to update Flash. She's had it. I've had other people make the same comment. Okay. Well, you know, during the summer, if you're going to be down in Centerville and you got a laptop, you know, email me. You can stop by. I'll put your computer on the dining room table. We'll, you know, do your Flash update.
Okay.
Okay. So just for those who, I know, I got the same way. I got to the point where I didn't want to update Flash anymore, so I just took it off of my Mac Mini. It doesn't have Flash. Okay. Now, people would say,
I can live
oh,
without it."
but Bill, if you don't have Flash on your Mac Mini, how do you do all that Flash stuff? Well, if it's a website that needs Flash, on my Mac Mini, I use the Google Chrome web browser, because it's got Flash built into it, and they automatically update it, and I don't have to mess with it.
Google Chrome.
Yeah, you know the thing that looks like a four-color beach ball that's a web browser from Google?
Is that a free download or
Yeah.
into the Mac Mini?
Yeah. Well, or your computer. Doesn't have to be my Mac Mini.
It'll-
Oh, no, not on the iPads, iPods. No Flash on the iPads.
I'm sorry.
Right. We're talking OS X, not iOS. All right. Let's see. Other things. I think that about covers it. Except for, you know, the new programming language that Apple released. They've been hiding it and working on it for like 4 years. It's called Swift. So if you're a developer, there's some interesting things happening there. And, oh, and for those of you who have portfolios and you follow the stock market and you maybe have Apple stock, you might have noticed that there was this dramatic decrease in Apple's stock price. It went from, you know, 500 something to like $98. And I went, holy moly. Because I forgot Apple did a stock split last week. 7 for 1. 7 for 1. So if you had 1 share of Apple stock before the stock split, after it you have 7. If you had 100 shares after the stock split, you have 700. You got 7 for 1. So if you're following this stuff on your own spreadsheet, you might want to look and see what your share number of shares is. Okay. I think if there's nobody else that wants to do any news, we'll go into help desk. Anybody have problems the last month? This is, yes.
I don't have a problem per se, but a friend of mine asked, what happens when my iPad has a white screen?
Okay, that could be a whole bunch of different stuff. Usually, it's one of two things. They've had a dramatic failure of the circuitry in the iPad, or somehow, some way, that screen is no longer connected to the computer that's in the iPad. They may have dropped it. And what you want to do is take it into an Apple dealer or an Apple store and let them diagnose it. You know, the era of I take my little splooger and I open up the iPod or the iPad. You know,
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore. They've got this stuff. You got to have special tools to get into it, and you need special machines because it actually presses that aluminum back so that the other part will come out.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be like the difference between When did they do the unibodies with the cars? Was it the K cars where you started having the uniframe? You know, so you're in a wreck and your uniframe is bent. You know, they would have these large presses where they could actually torque it back into shape. But the average guy in his garage is not going to be able to do that. Okay? Okay, so that sort of helped?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Mr. Decker.
Bill? Good morning.
Yes.
When I'm using Microsoft's products, typically Excel, it periodically goes off and doesn't respond.
Okay.
And I get this spinning beach ball.
Yeah.
When I check to see if I can force quit, and it says Excel not responding.
Yeah.
And on the web, they say, go and make sure that you got your fonts right and that type
Yeah.
of thing. And I've gone through all that.
Okay, so you've
And
used
it's not-
FontBook to verify that your fonts are all that they should be.
Yes.
Okay.
And, no, it's not something that happens every time. It's every fourth time or fifth time.
Okay, there's specific stuff you can do if you have a Microsoft Office, and I'm deliberately saying Office instead of Excel, because I want you to think about all of those combined libraries that they use. Okay, so you want to think troubleshooting Office, not necessarily troubleshooting Excel. And it's going to be specific to the year of the Office installation. So are we talking Office 2011? Are we talking Office 2007, 2008, 2004, 2003?
2011.
2011. Okay.
And I've updated it, and no, it'll work good for. And if it's specific spreadsheet that caused me problems.
Okay. Does that spreadsheet have scripts attached to it?
No,
Have you tried sending out a copy of that spreadsheet and then see if that copy works better?
I saved it was the 4-digit extension, and I saved it as an older version.
Okay.
And the older version, then I worked on it, worked fine. The next time I open it up, it goes off and gives me the beach ball, and I'll sit there and wait.
Okay, so for everybody else who's going like, oh, this is boring, I want you to look at what the troubleshooting technique is. So first thing I'm doing is I'm thinking, is it the file itself? Okay, so I said, did you make a copy of it? In other words, you got a different file. It's been saved, and he saved it in a different format because it's Ron Decker, and he knows his stuff. Okay, well, some of it. Yeah. He knows stuff I don't know. So we know it's not necessarily the file. It's not the format of the file. It's not corruption of data in the file. It may be something like a recursive formula that only gets activated to do a calculation when you change something somewhere in it. And you've already used your recursion tool that's in Excel to look and see if there's recursion in a formula.
No, I haven't.
Okay. All right, well, I would start with that. But the other one, which I find is quite common, is Office will save these various setting files. They're actually technically cache files, but they're setting files because they're persistent. Sometimes I find I can get Office to be to work with celerity, a little bit of swiftness, if I clean those out and I let it build those fresh again. All right, so what I'm going to do, oh, by the way, are you still doing welding?
I still don't.
Welding?
Sometimes.
Sometimes, okay.
I have
Just,
a problem.
I'm always working it, folks, trying to figure out, okay. All right, so what I'm going to suggest is that I make a notation right now that it's Office 2011, and you're running under what operating system? Okay, I'm going to make it easy for myself. Ron, your homework assignment, okay? Send me an email today with what machine you're on, what's the operating system, and which version, okay? Office 2011, I'll forget, okay? And then we'll take it from there. Yes?
Got an email went to open it, it said it had damaged files it couldn't open. But I think I went to preview or something and was able to bring the thing up. Was it some corrupt? It was a PC file, you know, it's not an Apple thing.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm
yeah.
assuming since it opened it in preview, it was either a picture, a JPEG, or it was a PDF?
Yeah, it was something about refrigerators. We had that.
Okay, so it was probably a PDF.
It was, oh yeah, it was a PDF.
Okay, so we're talking an ebook, Adobe portable document format. All right. Preview is much more lenient in opening PDFs. It focuses on just showing you the content.
Yeah, that's
Okay. When you try and open it in Adobe Reader, it's focused on, are there signatures in here? Are they allowed to print it? Are they allowed to change it? It focuses on a lot more stuff.
It was stuff from a magazine about, I think, consumer reports on different
Okay.
refrigerators. That's probably what it was.
Yeah. Okay. Now, all of that stuff about, am I allowed to print it? Can I copy it? Can I cut and paste from it? Is metadata. Metadata. And whether you're talking about a PDF, or you're talking about a Microsoft Word document, or you're talking about an Excel spreadsheet, about 7 out of 10 times when the file goes foobar, it's because of the metadata, not the actual data that you put in it. Okay? So just something to
I
sort
thought it
of...
was something.
So if you've got a PDF that won't open, you've got an Excel spreadsheet, something like that, try opening it either in Quick Look, where
Yeah,
you know
that's what
you click on the thing and you tap your space bar and the operating system will show you what's in it. You can't modify this stuff, but you can look at it, or open it in a program like Preview.
And maybe it was quick look.
Yeah. Okay.
But it wasn't, I didn't look, it appeared to be, no alarm went off or anything, so I'm assuming it was something like that, and not a virus.
Okay. Okay. And then I'm looking at Dan because I knew Dan had his hand up. What was the question you had that you were having trouble with?
I am trying to connect a Mac Pro running Mavericks to a Windows network that's got a 2012 server on it, and the Mac cannot see any of the shares on the Windows server. So I just needed some advice on where to start looking on the server.
Okay, we got anybody that's okay with Windows Server 2012 in the room? Sometimes we look out. All right, so I'll put, do you want me to talk to my other Windows guys?
Well, the administrator comes back Monday.
Okay.
So.
Okay, but just, send me an email back and forth so I know where we are with this one. One of the things that I've noticed that's a significant difference between the culture of Windows people, and I'm talking about IT people, and Mac IT people. The Windows IT people, as soon as you ask the question, they want you to sign a service agreement. Okay. The Mac people will go, oh I had that problem, or my sister had that problem, and I did blah 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 blah. Or you get the, I don't know, wow, that's sort of weird. Let me see, if I can find out what's going on. Have you Googled it? That sort of thing.
I did go to the Apple store
Yes.
down in Kenwood and talk to them. They were at least helpful. And while I was there in Kenwood, I went over to the Microsoft store.
Yeah.
And they were like, I don't know.
They don't have a Genius bar.
Okay, now, question.
Yeah.
When you were in the Apple store, did you have to sort of walk around people to get back to the Genius bar?
No.
No, it was pretty empty?
I was approached by a guy before I got a third of the way back into the.
Ah, okay. Now, over in the Microsoft store, what happened?
Oh, there was somebody standing out at the front door.
Were they be in the mall?
The
So,
gate-
so what I'm going to do is, all right, I had the weirdest thing happen. Okay. I had posted this thing about Steve Ballmer wanting to buy that basketball team out in okay. And this is on Facebook, and it was really strange. So I get this email, and it's from the new head of Microsoft.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
He thought I was a different Herrick. So I go, wow, okay, opportunity. Email him back, because I knew he didn't remember who I was. Okay. And then he emailed back. Anyway, so I'll send him an email about, just something that we've noticed with the Microsoft store out here. Because this guy is a very, very different breed of cat from Steve Ballmer. He's very much into the quality of the experience of their customers. And Satya Nadella is just a very, very different kind of person. He reminds me a lot of Tim Cook. Okay. When Tim Cook was at HP. Yeah. Yes, Rich?
Just to return to your previous topic, repair.
Yes.
There is a store at Crosspoint called Cell Phone Repair.
Okay.
And my daughter cracked the front plate, the front glass of her 4th generation iPod. And I took it in there and they replaced it for $70.
Woo.
So
That's about a third. I want to say it's a third, a half of what it would normally cost you. It's
Yeah.
the price.
70.
Yeah.
So, they're just getting the place back together. They apparently had a fire, and so they're still kind of getting their act together again. But they do seem to be, fairly decent at it based on one data point. They were very quick.
Okay.
Seemed to work.
Server 2012. This is why I'm probably going to get a new iPad, the one where I can talk to it. If you, just another reminder, is I'm in one of those strange cathartic states today. Everything was going smoothly along. I'm about 2 blocks north of Bill's Donuts, heading here, and I went, oh, yeah, I probably ought to go back home and get the presentation and put it on a flash drive or the laptop, because I'm going to need the presentation at the meeting. After I had the evening before, and it's, the first time in like months, I sent you the meeting notes and everything last night. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, the thing that popped in my head again is, if you have used printer cartridges and you're not recycling them yourself and you want to get rid of them, bring them to the meeting. We have a member who uses those, recycles them, and gets some money for her daycare center. And we have another member who's always here, Rich Gray, who makes sure that she gets them. So I've got printer cartridges. Okay. Yes. Oh, okay. And then I've got another helper there who's reminding me, we got all of these raffle items coming up, so I got to sort of like keep it short. Last thing. Anybody else with help desk? Yeah, okay, Larry. And then we'll go to Jim.
Okay, I just got a refresh on my U-bursts, and they came along and said, well, we're going to take all this cabling out, and we're just going to give you everything basically Wi-Fi. So, they actually did that. I'm getting charged for it. It's just hidden, in your monthly charge. But my question is, I got an old computer that doesn't have Wi-Fi. It's an old iMac, with the tongue sticks out and all that kind of stuff. And I just wonder if anybody had any experience, because it doesn't have Wi-Fi. Anybody bought an adapter you plug in, and...
So this is one of the beach balls?
Oh yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Saved all the
You can
space.
put an Apple Talk card in it.
I know I could, but I think out there's a bunch of cheaper ones if I want to...
Well, I mean, how much cheaper is free? Because I assume
you got
Apple Talk Airport, and I've got the adapter card and I've got the airport card.
Oh, really?
To go in it. Yeah.
Could you pay him $1 to take it?
No. No.
I just
do
wondered
not
if
pay
anybody-
for them to haul away.
But I'll still ask the question because maybe somebody...
Okay.
I
also
look
have
online-
a raffle item that I won, which is an external Wi-Fi
Right.
antenna with software, and it's USB based.
Yeah.
So there's a
Actually, the
couple-
guy gave me one, and then all of a sudden he's, oh shucks, he says it only works on PC.
Yeah, well, this one works on PCs or Macs.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You solved
All
my
right,
problem.
so
probably.
your homework assignment is send me an email today,
Okay,
okay?
okay.
Okay. I know he'll do it because he's ex-army. Okay, anyway, not these Air Force
You
guys.
could always hardwire, you could always hardwire it to your.
Well, the dilemma is,
too, but
it's a floor, almost a floor and a half away and all that to the.
That's a fishing job.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Conversely, I've got a couple of reels of Cat 6 Ethernet cable, and I've got drills that are. So we could do the.
I'll pass on that one.
Okay, all right. My job is not to tell you what to do. My job
Give
is
the
to
options.
provide you with choices. Okay. So, Ron, were you just stretching, or did you have another question?
We're talking.
Okay, then I'm going to go up to Jim Evans. Yes, sir.
Trouble getting a new flash drive to be recognized by my owner
Okay,
in the ports.
okay. Do you have the flash drive with you?
No, it's no.
Okay, so and we're talking about a flash drive like,
Thumb drive, yeah.
thumb drive, geek whistle. We're not talking about an external hard drive. Sometimes people.
Correct.
Okay. One of the things to be aware of is that as the newer flash drives are coming in larger and larger capacities, they are coming with a different file format on them. So where in the past, all flash drives were formatted FAT32, okay, the larger capacity ones are now sometimes formatted NTFS, Microsoft New Technology File System, all right? And depending on your computer, that can cause problems. If you're on a PC with NTFS, not a problem, you'll be able to read and write to it. If you're on a Mac running Mac OS or Mac OS X, you're going to be able to either not see it at all or only read from it. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm putting in your head. The second thing I'm going to put in your head is sometimes these things are dead on arrival. Okay. So do you have another computer that you can plug it into to see what it does? Have you tried plugging it into another computer? Okay, so your homework assignment, he's smiling. You know I care, right? Okay. It's not that I'm just laying off the work I need. But your homework assignment is to try putting that into that other computer and see if it comes up or not. Okay. So one of the things that's in my head is maybe the problems with the flash drive, or maybe it's an incompatibility between operating systems, or maybe the USB port that you're plugging into for some reason is not all that it should be. Okay. So see that workflow, that thought process?
How about if he doesn't have the little check mark check saying show drive, external drives on the desktop?
And the Finder
Yeah,
preferences.
when you say it doesn't show up, are you saying it doesn't show up on your desktop? Or are you saying it doesn't show up in Finder or the desktop? Neither. Okay, so for example, let me just bring up a Finder window here real quick. There is a flash drive plugged into this Mac. Over here under devices in this sidebar in Finder, we see the verbatim 16 hard drive. I have Mavericks not at its default setting. The default setting in Mavericks is it doesn't show you any of this stuff on the desktop except for your files. I've got it set to show me hard drives or mounted servers. So I know that flash drive mounted because I can see it on my desktop, but normal setting in Mavericks, it would only be showing up in this sidebar. Okay, so that's something else to check.
Show him how to change it.
Utility.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah. Show them how to change your setting, your preferences in Finder.
Okay. I go to Finder and I go to Preferences. All right, now, Excuse me here. I forgot, I'm in a different user account. So, I'm in Finder, I go to the Finder menu, I select Preferences. It comes up with the preference window, and I've got everything checked here. Show hard disk, show external disk, show CDs, DVDs, and iPods, and show connected servers. And the reason why is because sometimes I'm working on this stuff late at night, the brain's not really working, so I want to make sure I'm not unplugging stuff if it's still mounted. So I've got that double checked. Yes, Bill?
It may show up in disk utility, but not on the desktop, if there is a little bit of a compatibility problem.
Okay.
I had that happen just last night, that it wouldn't show up on the desktop, but disk utility in your utilities folder, it may show up in that, and if it does, then you just got a compatibility problem on.
So here I went, utilities, the folder where disk utility is inside your applications folder. Okay, think Russian Machushka dolls, one inside the other. So this is disk utility right here. It's the hard drive with the stethoscope. That's the icon. And this is what you would see, and it's gathering disk information. There we go. So I'm seeing two things here. The first line is the actual physical hard drive. And then one line below, indented, is the partition. Because you can take a hard drive and you can split it up into different partitions. Just like you can take your dresser drawer and put a cardboard box in there and have the socks over here and the shirts over there. It's one storage container, but you can have it divided for different uses.
But you must have a container within it to use it.
Correct. So that's the physical flash drive, and that's the partition that's on it. If I click on the partition, okay, little bitty information down here, it's telling me that, oh, hey, this flash drive is formatted Mac OS X, which means if I plug this flash drive into a PC, it ain't going to see it.
Through security.
If I plug it into a Mac OS machine, it isn't going to see it. Yeah, System 7, System 6, Mac OS, it's not going to see it. If I plugged it into an Apple II running ProDOS, it isn't going to see it.
How are you going to plug it in?
I know people that are still messing around with Apple IIs, and they make boards so they can plug flash drives. Okay, I actually know the retired engineer who reversed engineered the original Apple I board and then started making them to sell. Yeah, it's like
It's gotta be hard to get.
there's got to be some sort of federal program for retired engineers. They're just we need to save them from themselves. Okay, so anyway, with that said, go ahead.
Well, it's worth seeing that maybe the physical shows up and.
Yeah. Now, if the hard drive is the hard drive or flash drive is present, but the partition has not mounted, if you're in disk utility, you can tell it to mount it. But I don't want Jim doing that. I want Jim just to do the homework assignment that's given. Then we go on. Yeah. So you start with the simple stuff. You start with the non-invasive stuff, and then you work your way through that flow
What
chart.
brand did you get?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. What brand did you buy of the flash drive? Was it a freebie? Okay, so it may be SanDisk or Verbatim. SanDisk, okay. They got a good reputation.
Is there anything on the flash drive?
He doesn't know. It's not showing up at all.
Oh, did he buy it, or he just got it from somebody?
He bought it.
Okay, so there's nothing on it, really.
Yeah.
So he could just go into a disk utility and reformat it.
Simple stuff first.
Okay.
Okay, with that said, we've done, we did the welcome because we didn't have anybody to welcome. We did news, we did help desk. Does anybody have any stuff they're selling or that they're looking for? Yes, Rich, great.
not computers, but we are experiencing the ash apocalypse. And anyone looking for firewood, I may have a boatload of it.
Okay, so you're trying to spread this apocalypse across county lines.
Is this your house?
Yes, yeah, I'm probably gonna lose.
How bad is it?
Probably lose 18 trees.
Okay, have you used Bayer Advanced?
It's not,
There's
it's not worth it. Most of them are too far gone, it's not worth fighting. This is the emerald ash borer.
Oh, yeah, well, I have one. I've been using that Bayer Advanced.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Started,
The
I had
trees,
no
the
trouble.
trees the few that I might be willing to fight for are already gone.
So we don't have any registered arborists in the audience? No. I just hope.
The United States Department of Agriculture, though.
Okay.
Now, I have actually talked to an arborist at Metro Parks and,
Free advice.
yeah. Well, I'm gonna pay for one.
All right, so,
But just,
okay, so is there any unfinished business at this point? Everybody's pretty much, okay, because my helper did the eye contact thing to remind me one more time that we have all these raffle items. So I'm going to say, let's go into the raffle. Yes, ma'am.
Shot on it. Right.
This is last year's presentation.
summer reruns.
Reruns.
Is he just phoning it in today since the last meeting?
But you know what it means, since I used the template from last meeting, that means I got the date wrong on that one too. So I know what I'm doing after I get my grass cut today. Changing the previous. Correct. Okay, so our presentation today is about the Apple Mail program. It's not how to use it, it's just some things that I've found that make it a little bit easier to use, make things a little bit more productive for me. I'm trying to move away from using PowerPoint as my main presentation device. So what I'm going to do today is sort of a blend of the two. I'm going to walk through some PowerPoint slides, not giving you a whole lot of detail, and then exit from PowerPoint and actually show you in a mail program, you know, the same thing. So it's going to be a little bit of PowerPoint, not a whole lot of detail, and then I'm going to actually show you using an Apple Mail program. The other thing that we've got going on in terms of technology today is that the Mac that I'm using for my presentation is not physically connected to the projector. We're doing AirPlay. So this Mac is talking to the Apple TV, which is connected to the projector. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I'm also going to be using an iPad as part of the presentation. I want to be able to switch between, if a Mac's got cables attached to it, no big thing. If I got an iPad with cables, sort of, okay. So with that said, so tips and techniques for OS X and iOS. OXS, that's the operating system for our Macintosh computers. iOS is the operating system for our mobile devices, our iPhones and our iPads, all that good stuff. Okay, presenter, da-da, you got me again. And use that email if it's anything related to the user group, that where you want to get my attention, president@tmgdayton.org. And then again, I've got the photo, you know, that they had sent out for MacTown, that they have closed now. They are no longer in operation. And I'll say that one more time. MacTown has closed. They have no stores anymore. They don't exist anymore. Because I get people say, oh, they closed at the Green, they're over at Kings Ridge. No, they closed everything. Okay. For those of you who have a Macintosh computer and you use Apple Mail, that's the icon blown up, enlarged, for the Apple Mail program. The eagle on the postage stamp with the postal imprint, hello from Cupertino. Okay, so the next couple of items that I'm going to show you are only for the mail program on a Macintosh computer. They have nothing to do with your iPad, nothing to do with your iPhone. Okay? All right. Okay, so the first one is Photo Browser. And most of you are probably going, huh? What? Photo browser? There's a photo browser in Mail. Yes. And I'll show you that, how you get to it later on. This is a window that you can bring up in Mail where it will show you everything you've got in your iPhoto library so you can pick what pictures you want to put into that email that you got open. So you don't have to do this open iPhoto, export from iPhoto, and then click the paper clip and attach the picture. You can do it all from inside Apple Mail. So that's Photo Browser. The next one is Address Panel. Address Panel. All right. A lot of people, they'll open up contacts because they're not quite sure what the person's name is. You know, it's a different situation if you know the person's name and you start to type it into the addressee bar in Apple Mail. It'll look and it'll find it. But sometimes, you know, we have that sort of senior moment and we're not quite sure who the person is. Okay. Chuckling. But if you looked at my contact list at home, you would find that in contacts, I don't just have their first name and last name. I've got snapshots. Because sometimes I know the face, but not the name. So again, Address Panel, you can get to this from inside your Mail program. And you would have your contacts over here. So if it's a Facebook contact, this will show me it. And again, I don't have to have Address Book or Contacts, the program, open. I can get to all of this here. And again, you'll notice that I've got all of these people, and I can sort them by what their email is, by what their name is. Various good things that you can do. All right. The next one is called Previous Recipients. And again, you can get to this window in your Apple Mail program. All right. So, have you ever had the occasion where you start to type somebody's name in that you're going to send them an email to, and it keeps popping up with a wrong email address? You know, instead of it being AOL.com, it's com.aol. And you go, you know I fumble-fingered that at some point. And you've gone through all of your contacts. You've gone through your address book. You've gone through what's in your contacts app. You've gone online to AOL and looked at your address book that's online, and it's on to Gmail, and you can't figure out where the heck is that wrong email address. Well, guess what? Your Apple Mail program also keeps track of email addresses that you've typed and maybe mistyped, and it keeps some of those. So, in Previous Recipients, you can see I've got a Walgreens weekly ad. Well, that's not something where I sent something. Mail knows that I've gotten an email from Walgreens, and it puts that address into Previous Recipients. The other thing you'll notice here, some of these have a small little square in front of them. So, for example, Roman Research and Don Baldiff have that little square. That means they're in my Apple contacts. So the other thing you can do with Previous Recipients is you can click on somebody's email and say, add it to my contacts, without you having to type it in again, which is a way of avoiding fumble fingering stuff. Now, let's say, for example, I've got this one for Aaron Adams, and it says aaron@applesales.com. Well, that's MacTown. MacTown email server isn't there anymore. So that's a bad email address. So what I can do in previous recipients is click on this Aaron Adams, and then click Remove from List. So it's telling Mail, don't remember that email address. Don't show it to me anymore. If they're in my contacts, it'll also remove that email address from contacts, but leave all the other contact information I have for that person in place. Okay, so that's called previous recipients. Now, another one that I've got for Apple Mail on the Macintosh computer is Rebuild. Okay. And this one I actually did a screenshot so you can see where you get to it, which is you go over to Mailbox and it's the one all the way at the bottom. Okay. Sometimes the Apple Mail program can get confused. And it'll start to bog down. You know, you just know that it's not working the way it should. Rebuild tells it to start talking to all of those email servers and just rebuild the stuff you're supposed to have, the contact, you know, the connection to those email servers, clean out old stuff that doesn't need to be there anymore. And it's something that I do twice a year, mostly. Because I'm using Apple Mail the way it was meant to. I've got 5, 6 different email accounts that it's looking at the same time. So with that said, now I'm going to exit from PowerPoint.
How long does a rebuild usually take?
Well, I'll show you. Okay, so let's see. Hopefully I'm in a... Okay. Alrighty, not a problem. Let me just real quick do a quick there. Yeah, cancel, forget it. Okay, I'm going to just switch accounts real quick. We'll go over to my user account. So we're going to be using a mail program where it's got real emails in it. Okay, and let me connect back to TMG TV. Okay. And I will say cancel to that. I will close that out. Okay, so let's launch our old friend email here, mail. It's thinking. Okay, so here comes my email program. And currently it's in, you know, just showing up in one window. Most of you don't operate that way, so I'll keep it so that the mail program is just in a window in your regular desktop. All right, so I've got just 2 email accounts set up in this one. Bill Wharton said, how long does it take it to rebuild? So I'm going to go to Mailbox. I'm going to go to Rebuild. So at this point, it's now going out and it's talking to the iCloud email server, and it's talking to that other email server that the club has, and it's looking for things that were sent, things that are drafts. Because remember, for most of you, where does your email reside? Is it on your local device? The thing that's sitting in front of you? No, it's up on the email server. Because most of us are using what are called IMAP services. IMAP services, as opposed to POP. And even those of us who are using POP services, the new default for Microsoft POP services is for it to keep the emails on the server. So no matter what device you're looking at your email from, it can see it. Okay. So typically, it's going to take somewhere between 60 and 120 seconds for it to do its thing.
How many messages do you have?
We're talking here about
1,100?
We probably only have maybe 200 messages on that one. iCloud is real light. But on my Mac Mini at home, typically, okay, I don't get the number of emails I used to. I used to get in excess of 3,000 a day. Now that I'm no longer working those full-time jobs, and I've closed the company down, I'm only probably getting 1,200 emails a day.
Why?
So,
How do you
no, it's manageable. Okay, how many people know Bill is lazy? Okay, everybody raises their hands. Okay.
Smart mailbox.
How many know that sometimes Bill's a little bit smarter than the other guy? Yeah, okay. So I look at those things and I say to myself, okay, is it worth me spending 30 minutes, 45 minutes to set up a rule, or a procedure to automatically process stuff, or is it something where it's not worth automating and just, do it manually? Just like people come to my house and they go, wow, I expect you to be like a neat freak. And I go, well, for some things, it's important and it's worth the effort to be neat and organized and to have everything where it needs to be. But for other things, no, it's a misuse of your time.
Sounds like me and Alice.
Anyway,
I guess what he was
sorry,
saying.
let me give you the productivity talk. Now, we can do productivity. I do productivity.
So I spend as much time
All
in the
right,
house.
so now
as I
those
do in
other
the barn
things
to
where
place
we were
the
talking
Mac.
about the address panel, we were talking about photo browser, and we were talking about previous recipients. Where are they hiding? Well, up here on our menu bar, we've got mail, file, edit, view, mailbox, message, format, and this thing that's sort of generic, window. Well, if I click on window, I'll see that there's all sorts of stuff in there. There's a photo browser, address panel, previous recipients, and there's also a thing called activity and another thing called connection doctor, where you can use it to diagnose your email connections. So let's just go to that first one I talked about, which was photo browser. Okay, so I click on it and it comes up. And because I like to have things nice and big, we'll drag it out so I can see a lot of stuff here. All right, now notice, it doesn't just show me my photos in iPhoto. It's allowing me to look at events, photos, faces. So I can use the search method that I prefer, the same search methods that I would use in iPhoto. So for example, let's say I go, I don't remember the name of the photo. I don't remember when I took it. All I remember is I've got a particular person in there. So I'll go over here and I'll go to faces, and then, okay, in this case I've only got the one. And that's my mother-in-law, way back when. That's like 1926. Well, we're just not going to. But the thing is, now, let's say I want to have that in the email. Well, I just selected that. I could have my email up. So let's see. Here we'll just go, hey, we want to write an email. Okay, so here's an email. And I just want to move this. Let me do it this way. I'm going to go to Window, and I'm going to say, hey, new message, bring that up. Window, bring up Photo Browser. Let me do that again. There's Photo Browser. Click on Martha. Okay, grab that, drag that. Okay, so I just put that photo into the email. None of this click the paper clip and then have to dial, navigate to it.
Bill, is there an icon in the upper right-hand corner of the new email that brings up the photo browser also?
You mean that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's also one to bring up stationery, but I'm not going to tell you about stationery.
That's cute.
Okay.
The picture is awfully big to send when I do.
Oh, well, see, over here, let me just do a cancel here. I gotta sit for a second, folks, because I've got the screen way too small. Over here, I can select, do I want the picture to be in a large resolution format, or do I want it to be in a small resolution?
And where are you doing
Right
that?
here, let me just real quick.
Oh, image size down
Yeah,
there?
image size.
Actual size.
Yeah,
Oh,
small,
okay.
medium, and large. Okay, so anyway, let me close that out so I don't accidentally send that to my mother-in-law and get in all sorts of trouble. Okay, so the other one was address panel.
If you import your image like your desktop, can you likewise do that with the small, medium, and large?
Yeah. Okay, so typically what I'll do is I'll have the address panel open. This assumes, of course, that you've got a nice big monitor. Here I'm working on a sort of small laptop screen. But I'll keep those guys just sitting there over on the side. Let me bring that one back up. There we go. And I'm just going to reduce her down in size a little bit. So we can click on photos. There we go. There's Sebastian the Wonder Dog, who's no longer with us. Okay. So again, I'll have those things up over on the side. So if I want to look at an address inside mail, if I want to grab a photo inside mail, if I want to eliminate an email address, they're there. They're waiting for me. And they're persistent. So when I start up mail, those three show up. Now again, let's just go over here to the previous recipients. So here we go. So here's that address for Aaron Adams, the one that's for the, here we go. The one that's for applesales.com. I just click on it and I say remove from list. So then when I start to type in Aaron Adams, it doesn't try and put in his Backtown email address. Now, notice you also have a search field in previous recipients. Okay, so again, this is, file this under the things that bug us. You're sending an email and the same damn wrong email address pops up for this person, and you haven't been able to track down where it is. Well, what you can do is just put into the search and let your previous recipient's window show it to you, and then you can remove it with extreme prejudice. And you don't have to be putting in the full email address. If you know that it got fumble-fingered, and instead of it being a .com on the end, it's a .0m on the end, or it's a .mo on the end, you can say, search, show me any of these email addresses where I fumble-fingered it, and just remove them. Yeah?
Where did you find that under that thing window?
Under the window menu in Mail.
Okay.
Under the window menu in Mail. So, the first three things I showed you for the Apple Mail program, OS X, are all in the window menu under Mail. Okay? The last one, which was the rebuild, was under Mailbox all the way at the bottom. And now it's grayed out because, you know, I don't have anything selected. Okay, so there's just a couple little things that are sort of nice and easy. Really helpful. So let me quit out of Mail here. I'll show you one other one though, just real quick, just something that just sort of popped in my head. Let's say I've got some document, and I'm looking at it in Finder, and I want to email it to somebody. All right. Most of us would open Mail, open an email, blank email, click on our paperclip, then go look for the document and attach it. Me, what I do is I click on the thing or the folder, I drag it on top of Mail, and I release. Mail will launch, it'll come up with a new message box, and I'll already have the thing in it. Okay, again, these are the sort of simple-minded things that they don't look to be a biggie.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, people wonder, how does he get all this stuff done? Well, a lot of times I just say no. And other times I'm using this kind of stuff. You liked that last one, didn't you? Okay. I'm glad I went with my
Bill,
yeah.
she's bringing up previous recipients. There's nothing about remove on the bottom first.
Okay, you have to click on something first. Okay. First thing we want to do is sort of like resize the letter. Oh, well, first thing, you're in addresses. So go to Window, go to Previous Recipients. Okay, that's, let me get this one closed out. Yeah, it's the one behind here. Okay. So, just something to be aware of. I've done exactly what Archie's done, which is I've got more than one of these up, and they're one laying on top of the other, and I think I'm looking at previous recipients, but I'm actually looking at addresses. This is why I don't drink and drive. I go, am I done for the day? Yeah, I can have a little run footage. If I'm not done, no, I gotta wait. All right, so let me swine back here over to TMB.
Control key, and then go down to services.
Okay, and
New email attachment.
And again, you're my guinea pigs this month. I'm sort of playing with this idea. PowerPoint, these things get boring. So I mix it up a little bit. And I better,
You could actually move it for
before I do
trash.
that, hello.
This kind of stuff you can do.
Hey, PowerPoint has encountered a problem.
Control key or the option key will change.
Okay, so I'm going to say don't send. And we're just going to launch it again. Am I connected? Yep.
That's after you've right-clicked on it. And if you right-click on our control click, okay, depending on what
Mirror.
what you've done.
Okay, I'm working.
But you can
All right.
drop down menu. And then you go to services.
Okay, so we just did that hands-on
And
demo.
then there's a whole bunch of other stuff you can do.
So now we're going to seg to the other stuff.
Applications.
All right, so for those of you who have mobile devices, iPads, iPhones, iPad minis,
There's a bunch of stuff.
this is the icon for Apple Mail, same name, but for iOS. Different operating system.
Now I'm talking about iOS.
Different operating system. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing. Just run through a bunch of little things quickly, and then I'll do it from the iPad. All right, hide show mailboxes. The default configuration of iOS Mail has all of these built-in mailboxes that are hidden. Things like attachments, your drafts, your trash, your sent. In some cases, I've seen flagged words turned off. Well, you can turn on these special little mailboxes. All right, so where does the productivity come from that? I'm looking for an email, and I know there was an attachment. If I've got the attachment, all attachment email mailbox turned on, I can just press on that, and it shows me all the emails I got that only have attachments. It's a lot easier to find stuff. Or, let's say I'm in one of my anal moves, where I want to make sure that all of those things that I move to the email trash, I actually delete. You put it in the trash, but it's still sitting there on the email server, so now you're going to delete it. Well, instead of me going into each individual email account and going to its trash and then trashing those things, I can say, show me all the trash, and I can delete them. Okay? When we do the hands-on demo, it'll make a little more sense, I think. Anyway, but these things are there. Yes, Mark?
why do some, this may be something that's obvious to most people, but why do some of my emails come out blue and some with green?
You're talking about in the sidebar?
When I send them.
When you send them, some are
About
blue
the
and some are...
iMessages versus the SMS.
Okay, try it again. I'm fighting an ear infection.
Yeah, this is
so I'm not
messaging. It's
hearing
messaging.
it.
It's messaging
Message.
instead of
Okay,
email.
so you're sending a message.
Some come out blue when I send them, some come out green.
The blue is the iMessage.
iMessage
and the green
versus
is
the
SMS.
text.
I don't know. I'll have to play with it. I've never really noticed that before. Can you send me some messages, one from one and one from the other, just so I... Okay, he's going to do it right now, because he's a get-it-done guy. You know, if I was younger, Mark would be one of my heroes. Yeah, I'm serious.
I believe if they go out blue, they're going to somebody like yourself that has an Apple device.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
iMessage. It's done through iMessage. If it's green, it's an SMS. It's not
okay.
gone through iMessage.
Okay, so we're not talking about emails, we're talking
No,
about...
messaging.
Okay.
Look, I'll explain, you see, I just went through this, I never did texting, okay? My
Okay.
daughter finally just said, that's it, you gotta do texting.
And I got to pay attention because I don't do text.
Yeah, and so, okay,
Okay.
I used to be able to send, because one of the grandsons had an iDevice, okay?
Okay.
I could message with him all the time, because you got the iMessage key.
Okay.
Okay, they were one color, okay?
Yeah.
I found out when you get texting, the texting's a different color.
Okay, so it's a different pipeline it's going through, and it's a different series of protocols it's going through. So one is the Apple,
iMessage. Right.
and the other one is SMS.
SMS.
Ah,
But they don't always go through.
they're working on that. Seriously, they are working on it.
Always check to see if it says delivered.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that's good.
putting that to the side, back to Apple Maps.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Another one that you can turn on, and I find very useful, is VIP alerts. This is where you say, any messages, any emails from this person are going to go in the VIP, very important person box. Okay. This is something I used to do when I used Outlook at work. So my boss's boss's boss, I could care less. Okay. The person that reports to him, I could care less. Same thing, another layer down. If it was Denny Bean, I wanted to see that email because I knew that actually was something that affected me. The other thing, and this is, gentlemen, I'm just going to share this with you. This may not work in your life, but it worked in mine. After about 12 years of marriage, I discovered that when my wife said get in the car, if I just got in the car and didn't ask questions, my life suddenly became much nicer. Okay. And so I then started to apply this to the other women in my life. So when my mother would say, Bill, do, I just do. Not ask questions, just do. Mother-in-law, same thing. Daughter, same thing. At that time, my doctor, my minister, and my mayor were all ladies. Just they say something, just do it. And I found suddenly I got a pretty nice life and a lot less stress. So then I started doing this at work at the Dayton Daily News. So if Kristen Zimmons said something, Kristen's a lady, just do it. Don't ask a whole lot of questions, just do it. And wow, all of a sudden, the ladies are saying, Bill isn't problematic. All right, so I have my VIP list. These are the ones, the emails from people that I know I need to look at. All right, so my mother, my wife, my daughter, my mother-in-law, they're in the VIP list. There's also some other people. Mark Georges is in my VIP list.
Wow.
Mr. Kirtner's in my VIP list.
File person?
Yes.
All right, but this is something you can turn on and you can add people to it. Okay, and my sister is also in the VIP list. All right, so that's another thing. VIP alerts on your mobile device really makes things a lot nicer. The other one is something that got added to the mail interface in iOS 7. And that is the slider button that just used to allow you to trash something. Now you've got a more button that comes in where you can do other things. So you can reply to a message, forward, flag it, mark it as unread, move it to junk, or move it into some other file right from that sidebar. And we'll see it in use in just a little bit. And then another one, inserting a video or photo. You're in Apple Mail on your iOS device. You've got a blank email open. And you go, oh, I wanted to put a photo in there. Well, the normal procedure that people would follow is you say to yourself, okay, what iOS application has the data I want to use? It's a photo. The photo app has it. So you go to the photo app, you select the photo or photos, and then you go to your share button and you say, I want to email them. Well, you can do it the other way. You can already be in the email, and if you press and hold with your finger in that content area, you'll get this little bar come up where it says, you can paste and do other things, but you can also insert a photo or video. In which case, from inside the Apple Mail iOS app, you can have it talk to the photo app, and you can bring the thing in that way. For me, that was an epiphany. Because I'm one of these folks, I go, oh, that's right, I'm writing this email, but I also meant to send them the parts list. Let me just back up for a second. Hide or show mailboxes, VIP alerts, the more selection in your slider, and insert video or photo. So now, things on demo. Are we okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So now, I pick up the iPad, and I tell the iPad to talk to the Apple TV, and so now we're looking at my iPad. Okay, so let me get out of my meeting notes here, and let's go into mail. Okay, so that's my youngest son's Australian cattle dog. He's a very interesting creature.
Very hyper in that, it looks like it.
All right, so the first thing we were talking about was your hidden mailboxes. All right, so I'm pressing my back button where I'm looking at mailboxes. Now, I must really like you people because I took my Apple Mail app on my iPad and I took it back to the default configuration this morning before I had processed my email.
Oops.
Yeah, okay. So, here we've got the normal thing. The flagged mailbox, the VIP, the unread, and all inboxes. So, right next to the word mailbox up there, there's a blue edit button. I tap edit. And it shows me all of these other things. So, if I want to have a mailbox that shows me all trash regardless of what email account it is, I just tap that little blue button in front of it. All sent, all drafts, attachments, BCC, to or CCC, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff I could be tapping, but I won't. So now, if I want to find an email that's got an attachment on it, I just tap like that, and these are all the emails where there's an attachment. If I want to see what's in the trash on these email accounts, okay, I've only got 2 things that are in trash. They happen to be in the same email account, but it would look at trash on all my email accounts. Now, I'm going to show you how I can delete all of these. I'm looking at all trash. I'm going off script. I press that edit button. Okay. Down in my lower corner here, I've got a mark all button. I'm pressing that. Let's see. Oh, excuse me. I wanted to hit the delete all. I'm sorry. Delete all. Press the red. I just threw away all of those messages. If there had been 200 messages in the trash, when I hit that delete all, it would delete all of them.
That is server and local.
Yeah. the way these are set up. Except for Google, where I have to go in every couple of weeks and tell them, yes, I really want to throw stuff away. I don't want to hard copy. All right, so now we're going back. So that was all adding these special mailboxes. Now, I don't have to put all of them in there. So, for example, I've got, all drafts. Well, I typically don't know. Actually, I had drafts in there. Oh. Okay. Oh, well, let's get rid of those. So I'll just tap those real quick. Okay, got rid of those. All right, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to turn some of these off. 2 or CC I'll leave off. All drafts I'll leave off. All sent, I like to verify that I sent stuff, so I'll leave that on. All trash, I'll leave that on. So, now we're going to say to the thing about VIPs. So I've got my VIP mailbox up here. If I tap on the I can see who is in my VIP list. So if I want to add someone to my VIP list, so I've got my oldest son, I've got my sister, I've got my daughter, I've got my dad, I've got Tom Kirtner in there. Let's add somebody. Okay, when I tap add, it's going to show me everybody that's in my contact list. So let's see, let's put in Carol. Okay. Yeah, I probably ought to add my wife in there. So now I just added my wife into that VIP list. And then I would go back to my mailboxes. So if I tap on VIP, I'm going to see any emails that I received from those people that are on my VIP list. And if there are unread messages, so for example, I'll take this one here. I'll mark that. Oh, excuse me, didn't mean to do that. I'll go back in and get it later on. Or I'll mark it as unread. All right, so there's a subtle difference now. For VIP list, I've got the little blue letter I where I can configure it, but it's telling me there's one unread message in there. Because I just told the iPad to treat one of the messages as an unread. Which reminds me, this other special email mailbox, unread, that's the one I normally use. Just show me the stuff that I haven't looked at yet. And it's going to show me any unread email in any of the 5 or 6 email accounts that I've got this talking to. So then I can just plow through them. So, okay, joint pain cure. This is where I'm using that slider thing. I'm taking my finger, I'm putting it on that message, and I'm moving my finger to the side. So now I've got a trash button, or I've got a more button. Well, I know that thing is junk, so I want it in my junk filter. Then we've got, okay, General Dynamics is hiring people. Then we've got, let's see what Newegg. Newegg, okay, it's sales stuff. I'll just say trash. Okay, this one will move to junk. And that one I'll move to junk. And that one's the PowerPoint that I emailed to myself. And that one I'll just make sure it's ready, and I'll do that.
Hey, Bill,
And I just process my mail while I'm doing
when you mark something
presentation.
as junk, when you mark something to move it to junk, does that make it junk forever?
No, I can go in and undo it from where it is.
But does that mean that any other mail we get from them, unless we move it, will can also be considered junk? Go directly to the junk file?
What I found is that the Apple junk filters are not as efficient as they should be. So what I will normally do is, let's say it's an AOL account. What I'll do is periodically I'll use webmail. I'll use a web browser to connect to my AOL email. And I will tell AOL to treat these people as spam.
But moving it to junk on your phone, your phone or your iPad doesn't tell that's going to be junk forever. I mean, as far as anything new that came in, it's not like the filter on the Mac OS.
the implementation for junk mail in iOS is flawed. Okay. Stuff that I can nail and I can say, hey, this is junk, I don't want to see it. On Mac OS X, boom, it stays going into the bit bucket.
Right.
On the mobile device, it'll keep showing up. So that's why for the mobile, because I use this thing more and more every day, I'll go to the email provider using webmail. So I'll log into my email account on Yahoo, my email account on AOL, and I'll have them, I'll put these guys on their blacklist that this is spam, so then I don't see it.
You actually email like here in Safari.
Okay, let me get back in the mail here, because we had,
You go there and then you find out what those or spam, and then you will not get it.
okay.
But you have to go to the source.
I apologize, I lost my track of thought.
It says, you know, the photos of where we were.
Ah, thank you. That was. Okay, so let's get out of this stuff. Let's hit in the upper right-hand corner. I have a small blue square with a line in it. It's supposed to be a piece of paper with a pencil. I'm going to write an email. Okay, so I get my new message form, or as I like to refer to it, my aerogram. Anybody remember those special pieces of paper we used to buy at the post office and you could fold them up? Yeah, okay, aerograms. All right, now, I want to put a photo in this message. All right, so I'm taking my finger and right above where it says William Herrick, I'm going to press there and hold. Okay, and I just got this little set of choices. Insert photo or video is the one I want. When I tap on that, it then takes me over to this little screen where, again, I've got it showing me my videos, my panoramas, my photo stream, and my camera roll. All right, so it's talking to Photo app on this. Let's go into camera roll. And let's see, what do we got that's interesting?
Does it not work on the iPhone?
If you're running iOS 7, yes. iOS 6, I don't know if they put it in on that one. Okay, so let's see, what do we got? Let's try this one. Okay, so that's lyrics of YMCA that people know, and I'm going to say, yeah, that's what I want. Let's tap use. Okay, so I just put that photo into this. So here's a pie chart. Lyrics of YMCA that people know. So the green is the Y, the blue is the M, the orange is the C, the brown is the A, and everything else is the red, which is the little bitty slice. Let's say I want to add another one. Okay, I would tap in front of the picture and then hit return a couple times just to get some space. And then I would press and hold and then say, hey, I want to put another picture in there. Let's see if I get anything else that's better. What's that one? No, I don't want to use that one because it'll say cancel. What's that one? No. Okay, here's a good one. Thoughts when a car alarm goes off. So we've got the green, that's annoying, go deactivate it, and then we have this little sliver of red, someone's car is being stolen. So, I'm distracting you a little bit with humor, but did you notice how easy it was for me to find the picture, select it, and pop it in there? Over here, I'm noticing that my PowerPoint crashed again. Okay, so let me just go ahead. All right, so we did the hidden mailboxes, all those smart mailboxes that are there in iOS that you can turn on. And we have this launched here. short-term memory is going for me. So we had the high-end show mailboxes. That was all that stuff where you had all trash, all sent, all drafts. The VIP alerts, the more slider, where I was, tapping on things. Let me say delete draft. Bring up all inboxes. Here, we'll just bring this up. So that more slider, I'm putting my finger on the message and I'm pulling my finger to the side and you get that. If you slide your finger back the other way, it goes away. And then the insert video or photo. I thought I was missing one, but I actually did cover all the material. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to disconnect this thing from the projector, and I'm going to reconnect this one to the projector. So we were at this, okay, come on, do your thing. There we go. So we just finished that second hands-on demo where we were looking at tips for iOS Apple Mail. And now we're at where I can open it up for open questions. And we've got about 10 minutes. Yes, Ron Decker.
Signature block.
Okay.
On your message.
OS X or iOS?
Either. Is it possible to have more than one that you can select which one you want to use on a message?
Yes. So let me do this real quick here. Use two. So one of the new things in iOS, I'm going to go into, now, the subject is signatures. A signature is boilerplate text that automatically appears on any message that you send. Most of us that are using mobile devices, it says, blah, blah, blah from iPad or blah, blah, blah from iPhone. And of course, I immediately go in and change that. If Apple wants me to advertise for them, they got to pay me money. Okay. So, if I want to set up signatures for my email accounts on my iPad, okay, in iOS 7, we can have multiple signatures, and we can have different signatures for different email accounts. So, the reason why you want this is, let's say you're a Baptist minister, okay? So you're pastor at a church. If you're using the church email, you probably want to end with something like yours in Christ or whatever. If you also are the head of a Texas Hold'em poker group, okay, the yours in Christ may not be appropriate. And conversely, whatever you have as your signature for the poker group may not be appropriate if you're sending out next Sunday's, sermon. Okay. Now, something to keep in mind whenever you're working with an iOS application. Where are your preference settings? Well, the Apple way is we go to Settings. So this is an Apple program. So I'm going to tap on Settings.
If you want to have the same thing.
Now, in this sidebar, we've got all these different things. As I move on down here, mail, contacts, and calendars. So the preferences for the contact program, calendars, and mail are going to be in that same area. So I tap on that. Okay. So we tapped on that, and then we get all this stuff. Now I'm going to go down a little bit here, so I'm moving on down. And I'm looking for, signature. And you'll notice over here, it's sort of subtle, but I've got the number 4. That's because I've got 4 different signatures. So I'm going to tap on this bar, and it's showing me that this is the signature when I use this email account. That's the signature when I use that email account. If I'm using my iCloud account, it just says William Herrick. And if I'm using my Roman Research account, it says William Herrick, CEO, Roman Research Associates. So it knows to put those on depending on what email account is sending out the message.
Can you add image of your signature, handwritten?
You can do HTML stuff and you can do JPEG stuff. I really suck at web stuff. I mean, I really, because you're really doing programming. You're doing HTML programming to get that correct. So what I usually do is I'll just create a picture. You know, I'll create an image of what I want it to be. And I almost always will be sending it, if it's that sort of thing, it's usually government related, so I'll be using Microsoft Outlook to send those out. But yes, you can have a...
No way you can throw a ping into those.
Not easily on iOS. On Mac OS X, yes. Yes, Dan.
Can you start out and show how to build a signature block or else?
I'm sorry, I couldn't...
Can you start to show how to build a signature block and use it?
Sure. Okay, let's say I've got this AOL account, and let's say I go, wow, you know, that's a little stark. Let's change it. So what I do is I click, and I'm tapping on that block, okay, and then I'm going to move my little pointer to where I want to put something in. So it's, my little flashing blue line is there, and I'm going to put in the word cordially, and a comma, and then I'll put in a return.
But if you're starting with a very basic email,
Sure.
blank screen.
Okay, so let's just do this. Let's just take it all out.
Start from scratch.
Okay, so now I don't have a signature for that. Okay, and I want to create one. All right, now I've got it set where each email account can have its own signature.
Well, let's say you just opened Apple Mail.
Okay,
Now what do you do?
okay. If I'm on a mobile device, oh, I'm on Apple Mail on the computer. Okay, and this is where we'll probably finish up. Let me just get logged in here real quick. Connect. Okay, so I bring up Mail. Cancel. Go back to the Okay, I'm in my usual account, and I got to tell it, hey, connect to the TV. Okay, you can see me now, back there? Okay. So I bring up my mail program. As my pointer comes back. Hello. Oh, I know what happened. There we go. I got some weird stuff going on. Apple tab. So here we go. I just had my pointer disappear on there. There we go. Applications. And open. I'm using keyboard shortcuts to open it up. All right. Where are preferences if I'm in a program on Mac OS X? It'll be under the name of the program on my menu bar. So I go into Preferences, and then I've got these choices. General, Account, Junk Mail, Fonts and Colors Viewing, Composing, Signature. So once I'm in this one, I click on which account I want it to apply to. So let's say we wanted to apply to the iCloud account. And then I would click my plus, that I want to add in a signature. I give the signature a name.
It's 12 hours.
And then once I've got it in there, then I put in what do I want to have in that signature. So it could be sincerely yours, Bill, you know, hey, you deadbeat, you owe me money, I'm going to call the lawyers on you, Bill. The problem I've got is my cursor keeps disappearing on me here. I was a little bit too smart on myself here. So, hello, come on, there we go. Come on back. Okay, I got my pointer back. Mail. Preferences. I would click on this plus, create the name. This is the box where I'd be typing in what's in the signature. I can have more than one signature for an account in Mac OS X. In iOS, only one signature per account.
So if I want the same block to apply to, just say 3 different accounts,
Yeah.
do I do it 3 different times? Or?
No, what you would do is you would have, when you're clicking on the account, it's going to show you what signatures are available, and you can just say, this is going to be for this account too. Or you can have the signatures apply to any of your email accounts, and you can pick which signature you want from your email new message box. Some people like to do that. Okay, so anyway. Signatures. It's a good thing. If you have a font that's a cursive font, yeah, you can be having this stuff in cursive. Thanks, Bill. There are programs that'll take your scroll and convert it to a graphic. Thing to remember about emails, they're being used in lawsuits. So one of the things you want to do is to have signatures that are, sometimes have a hidden characteristic in it. So if somebody makes up bogus emails and puts your signature on it, what looks like your signature, you can get in there in the courtroom and say, no, 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 that's not my signature, because you'll notice that 4 spaces underneath the signature, my signature, I've always got these 3 dots or these little. All right, again, I thank you for coming out for our last meeting before the summer break. No meeting in July and August.
September, maybe.
And I will see you in September. And it's always okay to email me in between, okay?